Are you ready for the Bobby G to come to you with the ARs from the Bobby at Glass autograph collection? Because I'm about to kick off with Roscoe Fatty Arbuckle. This is one of the rarest autographs in my collection. He was a huge comedian in the teens and early 20s, and I have here a copy of his mugshot, an article from the newspaper when he was acquitted, and a couple of shots from his movie scenes. Now, he was a huge comedian, and then he was accused of rape and manslaughter of a minor actress named Virginia Rapp in 1920 or 21 here at the St. Francis Hotel in San Francisco. And after 2 hung juries, he was finally acquitted. But because of that huge scandal, his career was entirely gutted. He was persona non grata in Hollywood, and it started to institute the Hays censorship code. The interesting thing about this autograph, if you look a little bit closer, is I found this in an autograph book from the 20s, and this is dated 27. And you can see that he just signed Roscoe, which is unusual because normally he would sign Fatty Roscoe Arbuckle or Fatty Arbuckle. But because he did not want to be associated with Fatty Arbuckle at the time, it was just Roscoe. It's a really sad story, but he's really part of a legend of Hollywood and of censorship, and one of my rarest autographs. Somebody who didn't need to be censored because she always walked a fine line with her wisecracking was Eve Arden. Here's Eve Arden with one of her glamour shots from probably, I don't know, like late 40s, early 50s. When she was younger, she was quite beautiful. Look at this shot when she was really young. Quite beautiful. And here's a shot of her that she sent to me when I wrote to her, like, I don't know, in 81, 82. She won a few Emmys, I think, from her TV show R Miss Brooks. I'd cut this out of a library book and sent it to her. And of course, she was in so many movies. Here's one shot of her with Yvonne DiCarlo. But my favorite is Mildred Pierce, where she played Joan Crawford's wisecracking best friend and said things like, I like Mexico, it's so Mexican. And about Vida, the awful daughter, she said, I think Vida tells me that the alligators had it right. They eat their young. I thought she was really great in Mildred Pierce. Here's somebody who's also been around for a long time. Alan Arkin. Alan Arkin, if you ever saw Wait Until Dark with Audrey Hepburn, he's fantastic in that. And more recently, he won Best Supporting Actor for Little Miss Sunshine, and he was also nominated for Argo. This guy continues to act. He's been acting for over 50 years, and he's still a fantastic actor. Now we're going to go to movies that do not have fantastic acting, and the founder thereof. Samuel Z. Arkoff was the founder of AIP Pictures that made movies like I Was a Teenage Werewolf, beach party movies, etc. And he said that all of his movies had to have the acronym of his name, Arkoff. They had to have action, something revolutionary, killing, something oratory, meaning a speech of some sort, a fantasy, and the last one, fornication. And of course, if you have all of those things, you have an Arkoff film and you have a moneymaker, which is what he did with many of his B films. His biggest one being after he left AIP, he found his own company and made Amityville Horror, 1979, one of my favorite films, made a ton of money. Now we're going to go to a face that you've seen, if you're an old school movie watcher, Henry R Mehta. He's been in so many movies, over 150 movies, always playing the bartender, the best friend, the waiter, the bumbling guy next door. But I gotta give him credit, and I had to show him to you guys because he was born in Palermo, Sicily, which is where my grandmother was born, because I'm a little Italiano. Bess Armstrong, cutie pie, right? You know what I loved her from, and when I wrote to her, was after I saw her and Tom Selleck, who I was a big fan of, when they were in High Road to China. Look at this artwork from High Road to China. Isn't that fantastic? I love that artwork. So, Bess Armstrong from High Road to China. Ooh, anybody got a booger? Curtis Armstrong has been in so many things, but to me, he will always be Booger in Revenge of the Nerds. He will always be Booger. I'm so sorry that he has to carry that with him. But then again, this next guy, R.G. Armstrong, was in over 150 movies, I'm sure. But to me, I had to print out a picture of his most iconic role, which was Prune Face in Dick Tracy. It's so random. You can be working in Hollywood for years and do tons and tons of movies and then do one off thing late in your career, and that's what you get remembered for. Or you can be remembered because you have a famous mommy. Lucie Arnaz. Here she is with her mother, Lucille Ball, and her brother, Desi Arnaz Jr. Lucie's actually very, very sweet. I've met her a couple times at her cabaret shows. Here's a picture of her and her husband, Lawrence Luckinbill. God, I forget what the name of that TV movie was that they did. There's a picture of her from The Jazz Singer. Wait, let me get this out. This is a picture of her from The Jazz Singer, which she did with Neil Diamond. And then when she was on the Dan Hartman show with her brother. I like Lucie Arnaz. She's a sweetheart, and she still comes around town every now and then. Here's a real handsome guy. Jim Arness. James Arness was the brother of Peter Graves, but mostly famous for being Marshal Matt Dillon on Gunsmoke. And the interesting thing about it is that he would send pictures out, even in the 80s, in his Gunsmoke attire, and he would still sign them Matt. Maybe that's because Gunsmoke was... My grandmother still watches Gunsmoke. Maybe it's because they had so many revivals. And we're going to end up with... the best brat on TV. Nellie Olson, Alison Arngrim from Little House on the Prairie. God, anybody who has a biography entitled Confessions of a Prairie Bitch, you gotta give it up to her. Anyways, that's it. Next time we're going to pick up with Eddie Arnold. Until then, this is Bobby G from the Bobby at Gloss Autograph Collection saying, if you're a collector, go out there, keep collecting. It's a fun hobby.